I agree with you 100%. I think Jameis Winston's a guy that is always talked about and different things. Even I'm sure we're going to watch a soundbite after the game. But to me, when I watch Jameis Winston, I watch starting with that pregame speech when they post it, and everyone is always paying attention to what he's saying, which is important. And I listen to that. But I always look around the circle, and you look at guys like Rodney McLeod, who was front and center. You look at Myles Garrett. And when you see their faces locked in on what he is saying, then you can see the intensity grow and they start clapping as he's going. That lets me know that throughout the week, throughout the season so far, this guy's been front and center. He's been telling them things. He's been authentic with them. He's been the guy that is feeling the pulse of the team when he's in that circle, because that's what it comes down to. When you're in the middle of, when you're right before the game, in the middle of that circle, and every guy on your team's looking at you, it's not to make up some random thing that you read, maybe. It's something that you've come up with that relates to the team in this circumstance or this week. And that to me is what James has hit right on the head. He understands the heartbeat of the team. And it's been a lot of fun to watch him kind of bring this team together, because I think we all keep saying the same thing when we watch the Browns. Damn, like, what if they would have just put Jameis Winston in earlier in the season? What would be the difference for this team? Because this guy's really got them going, and they haven't won every game, but they've been in all of these games. They've been competitive. And it crushes you to think that this Browns defense and this team had a shot this year, but it all crumbled because they had the wrong guy playing quarterback.
He has come such a long way from that bizarre eat a W thing where the guys around him, when he was playing for the Bucs, it was kind of like, yeah, the reaction was not the same as it is in Cleveland. They were like, is this guy okay? But he really does show up. He's himself. It's infectious. There was a clip that the Browns posted last night where he just had a small circle of guys 45 minutes or so before kickoff, and he was saying, dun, 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 dun. You know, and they thought that was funny, you know, but it gets you in the right frame of mind. You're going to go out and play the game anyway. But if you can get that extra little boost in a fun and real, authentic, genuine way, then it helps. 497 passing yards last night. I thought he was going to break 500. It was right down to that final interception where he potentially could have made it happen. And after he threw that touchdown pass to David Njoku to tie the game at 7 with the extra point, I posted on Twitter that the Browns are insane if they don't keep him next year and play him instead of Deshaun Watson. And there are a lot of haters on Jameis Winston, and he's got more people that he's always been like this cult figure, and I think it comes from the mindset of he's the joke, he's not in on the joke. Like, there's been people who have leaned into Jameis because they think he's funny and they're kind of making fun of him a little bit. I think that's subsided. People appreciate him now. The Browns have a mess next year with $46 million still fully guaranteed and due to Deshaun Watson, $46 million in 2026 fully guaranteed and due and owing to Deshaun Watson. It's not like they're going to be able to go out and sign whatever free agent might be available and pay them whatever the market would bear for that skill level and experience level. Jameis is there and he wants to stay. He has said it. He wants to stay. This is Joe Flacco all over again. And Joe Flacco's final game as a starter was a disaster for the Browns. He threw multiple interceptions. They lost to the Texans in blowout fashion. But the theory that Sims and I have had all year long, Devin, is they didn't bring him back because they knew they couldn't bring him back, because if you bring him back week 1, they're going to be chanting, "We want Flacco." The fans loved Flacco, and the fans are going to love Jameis. And I think you can get Jameis Winston at a fairly affordable price. And the 3 interceptions last night actually will help you. You're not going to have a land rush for Jameis Winston. There's not going to be a team out there that needs a quarterback that has in big, bold letters at the top of their list, "We need Jameis Winston." Cleveland needs Jameis Winston, and they need to turn the page from Deshaun Watson to Jameis Winston, and they can afford to pay Watson $46 million to not play, get Winston for a reasonable price, and make him the guy. And you're going to have moments like that. You're going to have pick sixes, but you're going to have excitement, and you're going to have fun, and you're going to be relevant. And most teams end up in prime time because they win. The Browns will be a draw next year because they have Jameis. And if you're not going to win the Super Bowl anyway, and only 1 out of 32 is going to, you might as well be fun. The Browns are fun. You want to build your fan base nationally? Be fun. The next best thing to be good is be fun.
And I think from a football standpoint, Cleveland, like you walk away and say, man, they got through two pick sixes, a third interception. But you look and you're like, we had the guy throw the ball 58 times. Like, is that really the recipe to be successful? So I agree with you. You use that in your contract negotiation, but inside, you got to be talking about, we got to set them up for success too. So, and I think about the guys in the locker room. You walk away from last season with Joe Flacco, and it was almost kind of this thing that just happened. Like Joe Flacco has this moment in time, and I'm not sure the vibe in the locker room with him once you play that last game. But I think in the back of your mind, you're like, man, it sure would be a nice insurance policy to have Joe Flacco in there. If I'm on that team, I'm thinking if something goes wrong with Deshaun Watson, like, why wouldn't we have Flacco right here ready to go? You come back this season, if you don't bring back Jameis Winston, as a guy in the locker room, I'm not even considering you bringing back Deshaun Watson to be our starter because we couldn't get anything going at all as an offense, as a team. And then we get Jameis Winston in here. And again, the wins aren't picking up heavily. They're playing in a tough division. You have other teams in the division that are playing at a high level. And you're not winning every game. But like you said, we're competitive. We have a shot to win these games. How could we dare come back and not set ourselves up for that? And I just think other free agents on that team, you got to be looking at that. If you're a free agent on another team, even thinking about coming to Cleveland, like, those are the things you have to think about. If I'm a veteran that signed a contract and maybe have 2 years left, if we don't do those things, then I come back to a team knowing we don't care about winning. This is just a financial thing. And you kind of see that happening with the Giants right now, with guys speaking out about how a locker room should work, who should be playing, all of these different things. So I think it's a no-brainer for Cleveland to go out there and make sure they keep Jameis Winston. Even if you get a young quarterback, Jameis Winston in the locker room is better for your organization and your culture going forward. So it seems like a no-brainer, but football doesn't always work that way with doing some of the things that we feel that are obvious on the outside looking in.
It's a no-brainer. The problem is roughly 20% of the league has no brains. That's what happens. Bad teams stay bad, and they make bad decisions, and they're stubborn. They blew it with Deshaun Watson, and so far there has been no willingness on the part of the organization, starting from the top with ownership. And they can twist themselves and whatever knots they want to about, because Andrew Berry, the GM, was asked about this a few weeks ago, about the trade, and was it your decision? Did it come down from on high? It was our decision. Yeah, that means it's the boss's decision. It's ownership that wanted to do this. They got the tap on the shoulder first for the 4 teams that were pursuing Deshaun Watson. And it was Cleveland, you're out. It's either going to be Atlanta, New Orleans, or Carolina. Cleveland, you're out. And Cleveland's like, well, how do we make him an offer he can't refuse? Let's offer him 5 years, $230 million, every single penny guaranteed. And that changed his mind. And they keep doubling down and tripling down. They won't admit that it was a mistake. And they won't just say, hey, we have to pay him. We don't have to play him. They feel like they have to play him because they're paying him, and that's the mistake. And hopefully this wakes them up. 1-6 with Deshaun Watson's record as a starter this year. Jameis is 2-3. 2-3 doesn't look great. When you compare it to 1-6, it does. And Jameis didn't have the benefit of being the guy wire to wire. That never gets mentioned. He got thrown into this. If you give him a full year where he's the guy, I made this argument 5 years ago with Gardner Minshew because he got thrown into it when Nick Foles got injured, broken collarbone week 1 against the Chiefs, and then Foles came back, and then Minshew came back. And it's like, they've done enough where this guy at least deserves 1 year, just like Antonio Pierce. Give him his year, start to finish, and see what he does. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, well, then like Gardner Minshew, it didn't work. With Antonio Pierce, it's not working. But we see enough from Jameis Winston when he's shoved from the sideline into the fray without the benefit of everything that goes along with being the full year, not season, but full year starting quarterback. Let's give him a year and let's see what he can do. And again, you're probably not going to win the Super Bowl anyway, especially with $46 million being paid to Deshaun Watson next year. You'll be fun. You'll be relevant. I guarantee you, if Jameis Winston is on that roster when it's time for the NFL to put out their schedule, you will get more Browns games in prime time than you would have gotten. Because 2 straight now, 2 straight, Jameis has helped deliver exciting, memorable games for the NFL. And it doesn't matter if the Browns are 1-1. What matters is both of those games were fun to watch, start to finish.
And when have we ever talked about a starting quarterback? And for 3 years in a row, we've said the backup has outplayed the starting quarterback, starting with Jacoby Brissett when he came there, and then Deshaun Watson came in, and it was kind of like, hey, he sat out for a long time. The year in Houston, Deshaun Watson didn't play, then 11-game suspension. It was kind of like, all right, well, we expect that. That's why Jacoby Brissett looks better. Then the next year happens, and Joe Flacco gets in there. Now Jameis Winston gets in there. At some point, you got to say, we can't put this guy back on the field. We've had 3 different guys come in here and play better than him in situations where they weren't supposed to be the guy coming in. They were coming in for Jacoby Brissett, you were coming in just to hold a spot for Deshaun Watson. So the offense still is going to be built around Deshaun Watson and what he can do. We just need you to hold it down the fort until he comes back. So to me, this situation, it's simply kind of ridiculous of, hey, we've done something, and you keep saying it. We made an investment. It didn't work out, but we can't just let the investment go. We have to continue to play. No, like you don't. It's okay. In this league, you make mistakes. Draft, free agency, those things happen. But the worst part about that is when you continue to double down and triple down on a decision and say, hey, we're okay with this because we believe in it. No, there's a few people who believe in it. Mainly one person, the owner, who believes in this, where everybody else is ready to move on. And I get it. It's the owner's money. So that's the one person that needs to not believe in it to get it done. But I just think it's ridiculous to have guys suit up and play a game and say, hey, we're not going to give you the pieces that we have in the locker room to go win, but we still want you to go be competitive and do your job. Like, that's ridiculous.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.